Hello, let's go back to more audio related reviews, and today I want to tell you about a really interesting and relatively new earphones made by Astrotec named AM850 MK2. So it's continuation of AM850 they released some time ago, but it's a new, really modern in-ear monitors. It's a single dynamic driver model, but here I used all modern ideas, starting with good 10mm driver with LCP diaphragm and strong magnets, and ending with innovative internal sound chamber to improve the sound and replaceable filters. And of course I'm not speaking about things like good cable and so on. Price is set relatively reasonably, it's $170, so it's not a super expensive model, at the same time not budget, so let's have a closer look. As usual, I will add links to the Astrotec official shop and website in the description. Package is nice, neat, accurate. Astrotec usually pay a lot of attention to the design and external things. If you're interested in technical specifications, here are the basic ones. So 3 mW maximum power, rate power 1 mW, and 32 ohms of impedance, 106 decibels per milliwatt sound pressure level. So nice figures, not super sensitive, but at the same time not super hard to drive. As usual, under the outer sleeve we are getting internal box. This time it's black cardboard with semi-soft touch-like finish. Inside you'll get nice leather case, set of filters with metal plate to organize them, earpieces themselves, and actually warranty card, so that's it. Lot of foam inside, but from other point of view they protect the internals. So let me remove all the things that we don't need. And here, of course, stock cable and extra set of tips. So let's see what we are getting in terms of tips. So cleaning tool, 2 pair of foams, 3 pair of regular white silicone tips, and 3 pair of is it spin fit? No, it doesn't look like spin fit, but some tips that remind spin fits. As you can see, accessory set is pretty wide and really well done. So aren't those spin fits? No, definitely not. Earpieces themselves made of metal, they have a classical traditional shape, fitting nicely into ears. I think most audiophiles already have their ears adapted to this shape, and quality of machine work is really high here, so you can see that they are done in a really nice, accurate way. Spouts are average in length, but thanks to pretty big case, sound isolation is average, so it will be enough for noisy street or public transport, but of course not for subway or plane. And this spout works as filters. You can unscrew one and replace it with another, finding the one that will suit your needs and tastes. Also there is a lip for holding the tips and a protective grill. So as you can see, design on this grill matches the design of faceplate grill. So as I said, Astrotec pay a lot of attention to small nuances and details. And here is stock cable. Here used MMCX connectors. Oops, better don't do that. Be more accurate than I am So they're clicking nicely in place, holds well, but at the same time not too tight. There are ear hooks to hold the cable around your ear, but without memory wire. Cable itself looks really fancy, classical silver white wires, and it's really soft. It's softer than average, so almost zero microphonics, really comfortable in daily usage. Goes down to the splitter with chin slider, and after the splitter goes down to the regular 3.5mm angle jack. So to summarize this part, as you can see, in terms of exterior design and stuff, everything is made really well. And of course, about the sound, I burned them in for about 48 hours, and there were slight changes in sound during first couple of hours. They were not huge, but still audible. As well as in many cases of earphones with tuning filters, after trying different options, I decided to go for the natural ones. Actually, yet another example of attention to the details, they also labeled colors. So natural, black, air, gold, and so on. In case if you forget it, you can watch by color. And as usual, natural one seems to be the most balanced, and a few words about the impact of these filters I will say later. For these earphones, Astrotec decided to go to the classical V-shaped or U-shaped signature with accented low frequencies and treble, giving you enjoyable musical sound, but still with good amount of details and pretty technical. So it's typical for the LCP diaphragm drivers, but still good tuning helps this dynamic drivers to unveil their full potential. So bass is pretty deep, but main accent is made on the mid bass. If you want more deeper bass and if you want more weight, you can get how they named tidal filters, but to my taste they are oversaturating low frequencies. It's sounding a bit too much, but it's a matter of taste, of course. With these balanced filters, for me it's a perfect amount, and also what I like here is that these earphones renders really nicely natural instruments rich with overtones. They're not trying to be super dry or super fast, but at the same time they deliver good amount of nuances and overtones. Deeper bass is present but not accented, so it's not a classical bass head tuning, more for those who like accented bass but sounding more natural. And as an example here I will use Hugh Laurie Wild Honey. Great tune, great performance, and nice amount of instrument that goes to the low frequency domain, and these earphones play them really lifelike. Mid frequencies is typical not balanced armature dynamic drivers, of course, typical dynamic drivers without focus on the micro contrast, without being too dry, but at the same time, thanks to the accent at the upper mids area, they sound pretty clean and crisp. So no attempts to be analytical, natural and monitoring, but at the same time amount of details is nice. But also at the same time they are not super nitpicking, so they are more or less forgiving to the poorly recorded tracks. But still, of course, better material will give you better result at the end, but it's typical. So in terms of performance, nice, good resolution, but not focused on the micro contrast, and that gives you all that realism, good balance for vocal and instruments and so on. Imaginary stage is not huge, but above average both in width and in depth, with nice positioning and good depth layering. And as an example for the mid frequencies, so I've got running with the wolves from the Wolfwalker soundtrack. Really great cartoon with great music, great scenario, and really unusual manner of drawing. I'm really glad that Apple released this cartoon on the on the streaming service, and we had an opportunity to enjoy it. And a really good catchy tune with unusual vocal, sounding engaging and pleasant, and these earphones deliver it nicely, especially thanks to the accented upper mid segment that makes female vocals cleaner and more crisp. And treble area, so I've seen some complaints about treble being too sparkling. To my ears they are close to that border of being too bright, but not crossing it. But I'm a fan of treble. But keep in mind is that if you're sensitive to the high frequencies, this model can be a bit too bright for you, so it's better to try it before buying. But at the same time, they give you a good amount of overtones and nice amount of airiness, pretty good extension, noticeably above average. Things like layering, of course, is really basic, but still treble sounds pleasant and energetic, giving the good amount of realism for the instruments. And as an example for the treble, it's John Zorn, I Want to Live, that explosive saxophone with that goes often to the really high-pitched area and sounding sometimes really sharp, delivers really great by these earphones with nice amount of overtones. Speaking about the filters, actually it's pretty what you can expect. So with the tidal filters you get more mighty, more weighty low frequencies and slightly less accented treble, but actually treble remains almost the same, but bass compensates it. And you making main focus on the low frequency, so more weight, more mid and slightly less resolution. And kind of opposite situation with air filters, more linear representation, brighter, drier, and a bit more energetic. Speaking about the compressions, just two models to name that I can recall single dynamic drivers in this price range. So NF Audio NM2 Plus, more natural, more linear, more focused on the micro contrast, sounding more analytical. And the Fios FD3, they are slightly more focused on the micro contrast on the mids and a bit less forward on the treble, but at the same time they are a bit less resolving in the bass area and slightly less saturated with overtones, and because of that sounding a bit less natural. So to summarize everything, Astrotec 850 Mark II appeared to be a really pleasant earphones for those who like non-monitoring, but at the same time not overcolored signature. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a nice day.